Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. This is going to be part 2 of the creation of my December daily book, and we're going to get started putting some of the pages onto the hinges. So the basic page size is going to be trimmed to 12 by 4 inches. I am using some of my double-sided paper here. That way I can do a couple of cuts and just use some opposite sides. And then we're going to fold that in half, so it'll be at 6 inches by 4 by the time that they are ready to add on to our hinges. So I'm just getting all of these folded here. And then before I get started, I want to lay out sort of the pattern that I would like these to go in. So I'm just going to sort of mix and match until I'm happy with how the design goes together. And I'm working on this sort of in a 2 spread mode. So I want to get 2 top to bottom that look good together. But then also I'm thinking about how all 4 are going to look when the book is open in the center. So once I've got those laid out, we can go ahead and get started. So for this first page, I've pulled out 2 of my 6x8 pattern papers, and I'm going to use this Winter Wonderland. That's going to sort of be the start of my book, and then the back will be my day 1. So I have gone ahead and used some score tape to place these together. My suggestion to you would be to actually use art glitter glue. You'll see that I do that with another one that I do later in the book. The score tape, for some reason, it gave me a little bit of a bubble between the 2 pages, and if I were to do it again, I would do both of them using the art glitter glue. So hopefully that will help you as you're putting yours together. I did go ahead and add a little bit more of the score tape at the top and bottom, and that did help me a little bit. And once I get my space there for my memories or my photos on the back, it does lay pretty flat, but you can still see a little bit of a bubble there. Now there I've taken my hinge, and the most important thing with the hinge is to make sure that you have that lined up the way that you want your page to flip. So because I want to see the Winter Wonderland as sort of my very first page, I'm making sure I have that pressed down and then my score line pulled up along the hinge. And there you saw I took my pencil and made my little V mark there, cut out the inside, and here I'll trim off the little triangles off to either edge as well. I'll go ahead and line that up again, peel away this backing, and then get that pressed onto my hinge. And this hinge will be hidden by the way that we add the pages on. So you'll see that here in just a second. But now I've got this page attached, and that'll flip the way that I want it to. So this is going to be day 2. It's going to be my very first top of my hinge page. So I have this strip left over from one of the cut apart pages. It was down towards the bottom. And I've gone ahead and added some of my score tape just to one edge of that. I'm going to create a little belly band type of thing here. And then once I have that laid out, I'm going to add right along the edge underneath that some more score tape. I wanted to make sure and get that right close up to the edge so nothing will pull back. I'll peel away that backing and then press that into place and then trim off the excess. There, I'm just checking that out. I can tuck some pictures or memories or little tags in there once I have everything completed. Now, one thing you have to think about with these type of pages where you're attaching them to the hinge is you need to think about the back side of your page as well as the front when you're working. So now I've got these flipped over. I'm looking at what the back is going to be, and I've grabbed this green pattern paper. I've trimmed this to 3.5 by 5.25, and I'm going to score that at 3 inches. Now mine is slightly longer. You'll see that's more than 1/2 inch, but there's no need for that much. Save your paper and just do yours at 3.5. I'm going to add some score tape behind that fold there. And then making sure I've got my page in the right direction. So my connectors, the sides that are going to connect to the hinge, are on the right-hand side. I'm going to peel away the backing and then press this flap into place. It was slightly uneven there when I pressed it down, so I'm just going to take my bone folder and make my score line nice and clean there. Lastly, for this one, I'm going to take my corner chomper. I am using the 1/2 inch edge, and I'll just give a little curve to my flap there. So now I've got the front and the back of each of these ready to go, and I can get my pages attached to the hinges. I'm going to open up my page flat, and I'm going to add some score tape along both of the shorter edges. And then I'll also add some score tape along one side of the bottom edge. Doesn't matter which one. And I'll do the same thing here for my pink page. Adding that along both of the shorter edges. And then along one of the bottom edges. So this is going to create a little pocket, and then we can stick some photos or memories or tickets, whatever you want to store inside the page. I'm going to peel away the backing on just one of the shorter sides. Here I'm moving those other pages out of the way. Then I'm going to take that first hinge and I'm going to place this underneath the hinge. Just lining that up as best as I can. And then I'll peel away the bottom and the other side, and I'm just going to fold that over, keeping it nice and straight. And the other shorter side will go on the opposite side of the hinge. And that way that's nice and enclosed and you have a nice, clean, foldable page there. And I'll do the same thing with my top page. Sliding that first one underneath the hinge. Again, just keeping that all lined up as best as I can. And then I'll peel away the bottom and the opposite side and fold that over on top of the hinge. And our first page is done. Our first hinge is done, I should say. I'm going to decorate this up a little bit. I'm not decorating every single page because I want to leave openings for wherever I decide to put memories, or where I want to put a picture maybe to cover the entire front of a page. But I am going to decorate up a few of them. Here I've grabbed one of the cut aparts, just added a little bit of score tape, and I'm going to place that down just along that edge there. That way I can tuck underneath there if I want to add a photo. And there I've got a few things tucked inside my belly band. I've grabbed some Nina from my stash, and I'm going to create some inserts for the pockets of all of these pages. So the larger inserts that are going to be folded in half, those will measure 7 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then there you'll see I'll fold that in the middle, and that way you can fit 4 photos on that if you'd like to. For the single pages or single inserts, those will measure 3 5/8 by 5 inches, and you can fit 2, one on either side of that. Now I did take my circle punch and I've punched out just a little tab up there at the top to pull these inserts in and out. My suggestion to you on that, and what you'll see I did moving forward, is I had originally punched the circle through both layers. It's much easier to get these in and out if there's only a hole punch through one of the layers. So I will do that moving forward from now on. I've pulled in some of my foam stickers here, foam letters, and I'm going to add in my numbers. So this pink page is going to be number 2, and then my blue snowman will be number 3. And I realized as I was going through here that I do not have near enough numbers with one pack of these. So I will have to order a few more. You'll see when we get towards the end. I will actually pull in another set of some black letters that I had just in my stash. And I've used all of those that I can use, but I will still have to order a few more to get things finished up. But where I could, I tried to spell out the numbers just to get a little more use out of these. And then of course I use just the regular numbers on some of the pages, and I'll just alternate between the plain black and the actual specific crepe paper ones here. So there I did go ahead and spell out 1 for my first day, and I'm going to go back to my Nina cardstock and I'm going to trim out a panel that is 3 3/4 by 6 1/4. Then I'll add some ATG to the back of that, and I'll place that down on my first page there. For my next insert that's going to go between my pages, my fold over pages, and my hinge, I'm going to use some vellum. So I have trimmed this down to 5.5 by 7 inches. I'm going to score at 5 inches. That's going to be the part that I attach to the hinge. And again, I'm going to take that and line it up with my hinge, use my pencil to create some marks for that V. And then I'll take my scissors and trim that out. I'll add some score tape on either end of that. And then I'm going to line this up with my hinge, making sure to keep that V in the center lined up. And I'll peel away the backing and press those into place. And now we'll start working on my next 2 pages. So here you'll see I'm going to grab that circle punch and I will do just one side about halfway up the circle there for my tabs. I'm going to create another flap here. And this one I'm going to have coming off from the side of that top page with the berries and the leaves on it. So I have trimmed this down to 5 by 3 1/2, and then I will score at 4 1/2. I'll go ahead and fold that over. Add some score tape to the back. And then I'm going to place that along the edge of my page. And the really nice thing about these hinges is that you can hide all of your raw edges inside the folds before you put these on top of the hinge. You just have to think a little bit ahead with what you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and add my score tape here. So I got that all taped and ready to go, and then I started thinking about the flipped opposite side of my page, and I wanted to add another side flip like this. I'm going to do 2 of these actually. So for this, I have trimmed down some printed acetate. This has a really pretty gold polka dot on it, and it's actually from the Heritage Collection by Maggie Holmes. So I have trimmed that down to 5.5 by 4 inches. I made 2 of those, and then I scored that at 5 inches. So this is going to cover almost the whole panel of my top page. I'm going to add some score tape, of course, to that. I'll peel away the backing, and then I'm going to place that on the opposite side of that top page. So I will have one of these flips on both sides of this page. I decided for that red polka dot pattern paper, I was not going to do anything extra on that one. So I'm going to go ahead here and add my score tape along the edges. And here, because I had added my score tape before I added that second flip, I'm just going to add one more layer. And I'll attach this the same way that I did the last one. So I'm going to add this back section behind my hinge. Press that into place. And then I will peel away the backing on the bottom and other side edge. And I'll fold that over, including the hinge on the inside, so we cover all those raw edges. And I'll do the same thing here for the bottom. And that will finish up our second hinge of pages. So I'm going to do a little bit of decorating here. I've grabbed some Nina cardstock and I've trimmed that to 4.5 by 6.5. Here I've grabbed this cut apart. This was one of my favorites. I just love those little girls in their hats and scarves. I'm going to add some ATG to the back, and I'm going to place that here on the front of my vellum, just trying to keep an even edge all the way around. And then I'll take that white panel and place that on the back of my vellum. For page number or day number 4, on the back of my pink page here, I've grabbed one of the ephemera clusters. I'm going to pull in one of those evergreen sprigs, just using some ATG to get all of those in place. And I'm going to grab one of the sentiments This reads Hello Winter. Place that down. And then I have a few enamel dots. These are left over from that Cartabella Fall Marketplace that I had been using earlier this year. They are almost gone. So I'll start adding in some more of my numbers here, and you will see that these will change out, but I left it in just so you can see what it looks like. Add my 4 and my 5. And then since it's a shorter one, I'm going to spell out 6. Gonna leave 7 pretty much open so I have space for a large photo there, or I can do some journaling. Going back now to day 5, I'm gonna add in a few of the ephemera pieces. Again, just adding some ATG and pressing those in place. And I'll go ahead and add some more inserts down inside my pages. Wanted to decorate up this blue flap a little bit. So first I'm going to add my number 8, and then I'm going to pull from the clear sticker pack. There was a whole page of these beautiful snowflakes. So I'm going to lay out a bunch of these, and I'll have some, going off the edges just to give the look of the snow actually falling, and then I'll go ahead and trim those. Go ahead and add my number 9. And I'm going to stop here for the day since we are approaching the 25-minute mark. So I will give you a quick flip through here just to show you where we're at so far. I love this collection. I'm really happy with how things are coming together. And tomorrow we will work on adding a few more pages. As always, I will have my blog post linked below for you. There you'll find some close-up photos as well as measurements and links to the supplies that I've used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.